Hi, this is Stan, and welcome to Seek Wisdom, your skill assessment. This is the third part of the God-Centered Business, a foundational framework to grow with resilience. We know that you need some skills to do your job. We also know you need some skills to make your business look professional. This section talks about what it takes to have that professional look. But first, where do your skills come from? So we're going to look at that as well, because we know the ultimate skill giver is God. So I look forward to hearing from you and seeing how you're doing with your skills. I will talk to you soon. Take care. My father was a mechanic, and I figured that I would try my hand at putting new brakes on my car. I mean, I watched him once or twice, and I figured that this would be pretty easy. So I put new brakes on the front of the car, and I drove to work. On my way home, I drove back and I stepped on the brakes pretty hard, and then I heard a noise. It was a strange noise. I also noticed that the car wasn't stopping. The brakes had fallen apart that I had put on the car. Have you underestimated the skill of what you're doing? I'm talking about the skill of the thing that you're in business for. Have you asked the Lord, should you be in business? Have you asked Him for the resources that you need, even if you don't know how to do a certain skill? What assumptions are you making in your business? Do you believe that God will deliver the right skills to you? Why don't you discuss this with your group? There was a department that I wanted to work in, so I decided to do some research on the leader of that department. I asked people about the person, and I did questions, and I watched and observed the department for a while just to make sure that this is someone that I wanted to be associated with and follow. Have you ever liked somebody enough to find out more about him or her? Did you ask questions to them or talk to their friends? You know, God wants to be known. So seeking Him is to look into His Word and understand what He does and watch and observe Him as He loves His people. Why don't you take some time to discuss how it is to follow God? When I got in high school, the ridicule continued, and I said, okay, I'm going to do something about this. So when I got a job, I was able to buy some new clothes because I was teased about the clothes that I wore. And so I felt pretty good. I bought these new clothes, and then somebody said, your glasses look funny. And I said, okay, well, I'll take care of that. And I bought some new glasses, and now I have new clothes and I have new glasses. And then somebody said, your afro is looking kind of bad. And so I went to a barber college and had my afro at that time nicely done, and I got my hair cut, and so I had my new glasses, new haircut, new clothes. I was feeling pretty good. And then somebody said, you're too skinny. Wait a minute. After a while, I realized I was never going to fit in. Do you ever feel like you don't fit in? Are you trying to be something that is different than who you are? Are you trying to be accepted and God has already accepted you? Can you know and love who you are? Why don't you take a moment to look and see who you are and discuss this with your group? In the meeting, I noticed that I wasn't able to get a word in edgewise. I mean, somebody would always jump out there with the right kind of comment, and they knew how to posture themselves pretty well in the conversation so that they would be heard and my statements wouldn't be heard. Even when I said something, it seemed like they would just take what I said and repeat it and with a couple of extra words, and they would look like a hero in the meeting. Did you ever work with some people that you didn't like working with? Did you ever get in a situation where you had to assert yourself but didn't know how? Did you ever over-assert yourself and should have reeled yourself back? We all have to make some adjustments, and God wants us to understand who we are. Why don't you take a moment to take a look at some adjustments you can make to your style to see how you can work with other people, not against them, and discuss this with your group. This particular day started off not so good. I mean, it was raining and I knew that traffic would be bad. I mean, I had that in my mind. So I got in the car knowing that traffic was going to be bad. And sure enough, it was. But to top it off, I mean, I was hitting potholes and somebody cut me off. And it seemed like even though I was trying to speed up to not let them in the lane, this person was insistent on getting into my lane, and then they rolled their window down and put a finger up at me, and I said, okay, this is not going to be a good day. I got to work and I was kind of grumpy, and it seemed like I was grumpy all day long because people were asking me questions that just were not good. Have you ever been in a bad mood? Have you ever thought about how you can control that particular mood? Do you know that you have a decision on every single mood that you're in? Why don't you take a moment to assess your mood every single day and see what you can do to relax your mood and to take your mind off of what's going on? Why don't you discuss this with your group? I usually avoided going to this particular meeting because I knew certain groups of people would be there. They would always put me in a not so great mood, and so I chose not to attend the meeting, but this time I decided to go. And I decided to go with a different approach. I decided to be in a good mood. I'm going to be in a good mood no matter what somebody says. I'm going to be in a good mood no matter what somebody does. And that actually changed the entire evening. When those people showed up, I was smiling. I was able to discuss things with people. And that, wouldn't you know, after a while I got to know a couple of people that I tried to avoid, and they actually were nice people. Are you trying to go into situations in a bad mood and planning to be in a bad mood? Can you plan your mood and go into the situation thinking positively? Can you pray about your mood and maybe make that adjustment so that you can have a good relationship with the people around you? Why don't you take a moment to discuss this with your group? The sink was clogged and I did not have money for a plumber. I did not have money for a plunger, and I did not have money for a liquid plumber. I was in bad shape, and so I went into the closet and I got a hanger and I started cleaning the drain with a hanger, and it took a little while longer than usual, but eventually I got the drain to work. I know that necessity is the mother of invention, and so I had to get something done. Do you need to get something done in your business and you don't have the money? Do you have the resources to go ahead and start learning that particular skill that you need? Or can it wait till you can afford to outsource this? This is something to pray for, because you want to be able to do things in your business very professionally and have it look professional and not like an amateur did it, so that people can trust your business. Why don't you discuss this with your group? We were walking in the rain, and it was pouring down, and there were no trees in sight. There was no way to get out of the rain. We were just destined to be soaked. And then a car pulled up on the side of us, and it was somebody from our neighborhood. So we were so excited. We jumped in the car, and we got a ride home. Have you ever experienced getting the right thing at the right time? Was it a ride from a neighbor when you were walking in the rain, or did you get help picking something up heavy that you couldn't lift? What other than money have you received at the right time and did not expect it? Well, God is watching over you, and He can provide the gaps in your business. So I wouldn't worry about all the gaps of the things that you don't know, but still seek perfection in your business. Why don't you discuss this with your group?